Wow, this is amazing. Guys, welcome to the Buccaneers Observer. This is Ralph Phillips. I am today. It's just unbelievably hectic. You know, we got bad news with Mike Williams. This is a third attempt I've had at the live stream, recording stuff. The microphone wasn't on, and then I wasn't logged in. All this good stuff, man. But hey, guys, I apologize. I appreciate y'all being in here. MK, MH, what's up? Danny K. Yes, MH, he is on life support. Mike Williams is on life support. That is the new report coming out. The original report was that Mike Williams has passed away. This was Buffalo Reporter had said that a construction site accident. He was hit in the head while he was working, and then a number of days later, he was having some physical issues, and then he was taken to the hospital. I believe they said he was induced into a coma, and he never came out of the coma. Now, this was all information we were getting from the Buffalo media. It went it went national, and everybody said that he passed away. There were some GoFundMe accounts from his parents claiming that he had passed away. But now we are getting reports within the past hour or so that he's not passed away. He's actually on life support, and they're thinking about getting him off life support. So I'm going to go ahead and read this article. Yes, 67 likes for 67 Luke Gedeke. If we get 67 likes during the stream, then we get to pick what color jersey MK is going to have to buy for his Luke Gedeke jersey. So I'm going to go ahead and read this article from the Tampa Bay Times. It's short and to the point. It says, former Buck Mike Williams on life support following construction accident. A report by a Buffalo TV station Tuesday night said Williams had died as a result of his injuries, but the family is weighing options. Former Bucs receiver Mike Williams is on life support in ICU at St. Joseph's Hospital due to injuries sustained in a construction accident last week. The mother of his 8-year-old daughter said. Tierney Lyle had just left the hospital, where she said Williams was mostly non-responsive when she and daughter Maya visited him on Wednesday afternoon. Quote, "They were waiting on me and his daughter. We're here and still trying to figure it out," end quote, said Lyle, standing outside of St. Joseph's Hospital. Quote, "He was asleep when we went in there, and he woke up when he heard our voices and his daughter's voice," Lyle said. "And he looked around and he blinked and he was crying, but he can't move," end quote. Lyle, who said Williams was injured in a construction accident in Hillsborough County last week, said she believed the plan was to remove Williams from life support, but that hasn't happened yet. John Scott of Spectrum Sports in Buffalo reported Tuesday night that he had confirmed Williams had died, and the news was picked up by several media outlets, including the Tampa Bay Times. A fourth-round pick out of Syracuse in 2010, Williams burst onto the scene with 964 yards receiving and 11 touchdowns. That made him an NFL Pepsi Offensive Rookie of the Year finalist. Williams played only 4 seasons with Tampa Bay before being traded to his hometown Buffalo Bills in 2014. He finished his career spending part of 2016 with the Chiefs in the offseason. Like I said, this is a third time I've tried to do this live stream, so I have said a lot of stuff, and I'm not sure exactly what I've covered. And so I feel like I'm going to be missing some stuff here that I said previously. Yes, Mike Williams was beloved by the fan base. I have never met a Buccaneer fan that I haven't said brought up Mike Williams' name, and they haven't said, "Oh, I loved him." Everybody seemed to like Mike Williams, which is a rarity. You get, no matter what player you get. I've had people that said they didn't like Mike Allstott, believe it or not. I used to not like Warren Sapp. So, you get all kinds of people, but it seems like Mike Williams was one of those rare players that everybody seemed to like. He just had a great personality. He was very entertaining. He was great on the field for the Buccaneers because we hadn't had a receiver that could catch the ball. I can't remember since, my goodness, Jaravicius was about the last receiver I remember that could catch the ball. So Mike Williams coming into town and just lighting it up in his rookie year was really a highlight of the Buccaneers. And this was right at the start of the Buccaneers crash for a decade, because in 2011, that's when the Buccaneers imploded as a team. In 2010, they went, I think, 10-6, almost made the playoffs. And then in 2011, they started off doing great. This was Josh Freeman's second year and Raheem Morris' second year. And they, on the way to Europe for the game against the Chicago Bears, something happened on that plane trip, but we don't know. There was a fight between the players and the coaches, or the players and the players, and all that good stuff. But there was a lot of rowdy guys on this team, and the team imploded. And from that then on, the rest of the season, I don't think we won a game, and that cost Raheem Morris his job. We brought Shiano in. He weeded everybody out. He was brought in to get rid of all the bad roots that have been put into the team. So anyhow, Mike Williams was kind of part of that group. He was a partier. He ended up getting into a lot of trouble off the field because of his partying lifestyle. He had apparently had a stripper pole in the house he was renting. There was reports of mattresses out on the front yards. The cops were always being called to his house. There was parties there all the time. He was like flying people in from all across the world to party at his house. Before games, he had this career he was trying to get started with rapping and a music career, which never ended up going anywhere. And I remember thinking when he was doing that, I was like, dude, you got to focus on football. You know, he seemed to be more interested in wanting to do music and everything. But everybody loved Mike Williams. And we ended up trading him to the Bills in 2014, the beginning of 2014, for a 6th-round pick. So it was hard to do. It was hard to take. We had a lot of players from that team that we just blew up. We sent elsewhere. They were great players. LeGarrette Blount, Talib, Mike Bennett. Got so many players that we just had to get rid of because they were just, they're off the field issues, and they're on the field issues. You know, they were doing a lot of drugs and partying and all that good stuff. So Mike Williams ended up getting caught up in that wave. But everybody loved Mike Williams. You know, he was just a great guy, and some of his catches were so spectacular. Molly called him Twinkle Toes because he just would catch the ball and keep his toes in bounds. He was amazing at that. So we're sad to hear this development with him. Hopefully, fingers crossed. You know, I mean, when I first put up this thumbnail and the information to schedule this stream, the news was that he was dead. But now we're getting that he's still alive. He was in ICU, and he's in intensive care, and they're looking about taking him off life support. But his ex is saying that he was aware that he could recognize her and the daughter, and he was crying and he was moving his eyes. So that's promising, man. Let's put out some prayers for Mike Williams that he pulls through this. So, it's bad. It was bad news, and then it got a little bit better. And so now we're just kind of in a holding pattern to find out, hey, Craig, how's it going? Yes, he was an exciting player, very exciting. He was such a fresh air to the Buccaneers because, like I said, it had been so long since we had a receiver who could make those catches. It was really sad when he was shipped off to Buffalo. I remember all the Buccaneer fans were like, gosh, all of our players that we really liked were gone at that point. And it's strange. Gerald McCoy had tweeted out, when he heard that Mike Williams had passed away, he had tweeted out that, 4 guys from that team are dead now. Geno Hayes, Teo Machine, Teo is what we called him because he had such a crazy last name. Vincent Jackson, and now Mike Williams. I mean, that's the 4 guys from one team that are dead before they're 40. It's amazing. But hopefully Mike Williams will not be one of those guys. Hopefully he'll pull through with this. And There's rumors out that he was broke and that's why he was working the construction site, but we don't know. We don't even know if he's dead yet. So whether he's broke or not, I don't know. Working on construction doesn't mean necessarily that you're dead, especially he was hit with a metal beam. You don't put that in houses generally, unless they're nice houses, big houses. So it sounded like he was doing probably commercial construction, which that's not something you just jump into. So I don't know. I'm not even sure did he have a college degree? Maybe he had a college degree in architecture or something like that. Speaking of architecture, he was up for NFL Rookie of the Year, but the Ndamukong Suh ended up getting that. Ndamukong Suh is an architect. So that's where that came from. So sad news. Hey, what's up, Nate? I just saw your chat here. That 1,000-yard season he had with Freeman was pretty special and a very bleak time for us outside of Doug Martin and LVD. Yes. It really was. You went to Vincent Jackson's restaurant during your first Tampa trip. Yes. Oh, my God. What was the name of that? We almost went, me and Molly. Oh. But I used to get I was on the Twitter thing, and I used to, I can't remember the name of that restaurant. That was sad with Vincent Jackson. I was very sad when he passed away. I was sad when we let him go. We didn't re-sign him, and we didn't make a big deal about it. He kind of just quietly retired. Tampa Bay has a really, really hard time. I don't know about other teams because I'm not a fan of other teams, but we seem to just kind of let guys go and just move on from guys instead of giving them the send-offs that I would like to see, acknowledging their contribution. Vincent Jackson was a great player, a great person. He immediately came to Tampa and put roots down, and he was a big brother to Mike Evans. Remember when they were the Twin Towers? That's what they were called. Gosh, I can't remember what Vincent Jackson's restaurant was called. It was a pretty cool name. Seemed like a pretty cool restaurant, too. Was it good, Craig? So, Mike Williams, hopefully he pulls through. Apparently he had swelling on his brain, swelling on his spinal cord, and his spinal cord was ruptured. So maybe even if he pulls through, he might be paralyzed. But we're praying for him. Just weird how, these journalists get these things so wrong sometimes. I mean, is he alive? I mean, if he's alive and they were reporting, it's been almost a day now that they reported that he was dead. They didn't even call the hospital to find out or anything. It's just it's pretty bad reporting. Giant pretzel appetizer was the best one I've ever had. Oh my gosh, Molly would have loved that. That sounds yummy because I am hungry. I'm hungry right now. I didn't get a chance to eat. North Carolina, right smack dab in the middle of Carolina Panther territory. We just moved here a year ago. Before we were Redskins territory up in Virginia. I lived down in Florida for 4 years. Cask Social. That's right, Cask Social. That was the name of the restaurant. Yes. Is it still there? I mean, I know Vincent Jackson has passed away, so his ownership in it's probably not. It was probably handed down to his family. So I wonder if they kept it open or they sold out or if it just closed. So Mike Williams, sad news, but at the same time, not as sad as I expected. I need to change the thumbnail to RIP ? Maybe. Yes, Nate, you got to respect Mike for doing that. Old boss of yours got electrocuted at work and passed away. It's easy. It happens easy. I worked construction for many, many years. I saw a lot of bad accidents, but I've seen bad accidents in the office. No matter where you work, you got to keep your head on a swivel. I'm assuming that he was working a commercial construction site. So I don't know too many residentials that have steel beams, unless he was working on a really large home. Sometimes they have those steel beams installed, depending on the floor plan. But, that was always the thing with him. He was always a worker. He always came to practice. He worked. A lot of times he came hungover. He partied hard. He worked hard. But, that's 4. If Mike Williams does pass away, that'll be 4 players from that team, that era, that have passed away. Geno Hayes, he died of liver disease. Vincent Jackson, he died of alcoholism, basically. Mike Williams, and then Teo Nashim, who committed suicide, which Vincent Jackson pretty much committed suicide too, I believe. Oh, so the Cask Social restaurant is still open. The Bavarian pretzel. Man, that sounds delicious. I am so hungry right now. I could eat shoes. Shoe leather sounds delicious. What's up, Clack? Yeah, this is a sad party today. We're talking about Mike Williams. Apparently, he has not passed away. This is the latest news. He's not dead. He is in ICU on life support, and they're debating on whether to take him off of life support or not. That is the current information. As we do this live stream, we're going to try and keep up with it and see if any new information comes out. But we were talking about how horrible media reporting that is. I mean, it's been a full day. I remember getting this news last night, probably around 10 or 11 o'clock, I think it was, that Mike Williams had passed away. And it's been all the way until today, up until about an hour ago, that we heard that, no, he's not dead. He's still in the hospital and he's on life support. So it's bad news mixed in with a little bit of not so bad news, some good news. Apparently his ex came in with their daughter and he recognized them and he started crying, according to her. So that's good. That's good. That's good news. But he can't move. Apparently his spinal cord was severed. We got some more strange news also. Keyshawn Vaughn did not show up to practice today. Unexcused. Apparently Todd Bowles was a little miffed about it. His personal reasons is what Todd Bowles says, but it was an unexcused absence. He just didn't show up. Now, we had talked about this yesterday, how Sean Tucker had got the number 2 running back spot. Keyshawn Vaughn is in the number 4 running back spot. He's behind Chase Edmonds. So it goes Rachaad White, Tucker, and then Chase Edmonds, and then Keyshawn Vaughn. So he probably wasn't happy about that. I'm just assuming. This is just speculation. And now he's not showing up for practice. This this is a few days out before week 1. And it would surprise me if he doesn't get cut. I mean, you just can't put up with that. If Todd Bowles, again, this is another thing that you just can't put up with as a head coach. And Todd Bowles has got to do something about this. And he can't just leave the fans hanging either. He's got to let us know what's the issue and what he's going to do about it. But if this just kind of quietly goes away and Keyshawn Vaughn comes back and we don't hear anything about it, I'm going to say that's a huge failure on Todd Bowles' part. You got to discipline the guy somehow, some way, and you got to let the fans know where you are as a leader. Because I don't have a lot of faith in Todd Bowles' leadership abilities, and this is one of those things. You're like, you can't have players just not showing up to practice. what are you going to do as a coach about that? Craig said, makes sense because Vaughn doesn't show up for the games either. Oh, that's horrible, but it is true. Bring up David Moore from practice squad. What's up, Roger? Yeah. I would imagine, I wouldn't surprise me at all if Keyshawn wasn't cut by today, into today or tomorrow. Yep, that's how I feel, Clack. Anthony Nelson out? I am not sure. I saw the only Buccaneer I saw that was hurt and didn't practice fully today was Clancy. Kalijah Clancy was the only one I saw that Anthony Nelson, he had limited participation with his hamstring injury. Same thing with Kayvon Merriweather, and Antoine Winfield had full participation today. So his calf injury looks like he is going to be able to play game one. But don't know about Anthony Nelson. So if Clancy and Nelson don't play, that's going to give us a lot of more time with Tryon and Golston and those guys. So we'll get to see a deeper rotation, I guess. But I'm anxious to see Clancy, man. I want to see what he can do. We'll see. I haven't seen any tape on him at all. Do I like Vaughn? Not particularly. I normally try not to talk bad about players while they're on the team. It's kind of a thing that me and Molly, when we started the Buccaneers Observer, we said that's what we were going to do. We're not going to talk bad about players or coaches. But the kind of last year, I kind of slipped up a little bit, because I was just so disappointed in Todd Bowles that, I kind of got a little pessimistic and started talking negative about him. But I'm trying not to call for anybody to be fired and everything. Keyshawn Vaughn, have not been impressed with him at all ever since he got here. I don't know what they saw in him, but he seems a little light. He doesn't seem like he can take hits well. He's not good at catching the ball. I mean, I think at one point, I think his first year, he dropped more. He had more drops than he did catches. He didn't have a lot of targets. I'm just going off my memory here, which isn't the best in the world. So I want to say he had like 9 targets and 5 drops or something like that. It was absolutely horrible. Yes, Winfield was on the injury report, but he did practice fully today. Nelson got a partial practice in. So that's good. That means he's got a good chance of playing week 1, and he's going to want to play week 1. But Kalijah Clancy doesn't look like he's going to make it for week 1. I mean, he hasn't practiced for a month, and here it is. We're 4 or 5 days out from game 1, and he still hasn't practiced. I don't think he's going to be. It'll be later in the season before we see him. I like Sean Tucker, says Joe. What's up, Joe? Yeah, I like Sean Tucker too. He was kind of impressive. I saw him in a couple series. And he, for a rookie, he had some shiftiness to him. And he seems to fit this style of running that we're going to be doing, the zone running. He seems to fit that a lot better. I don't think he'd have been good at the power running we did last year. So I think they drafted him specifically because of the shiftiness. Craig says, I was excited about Vaughn when he was first coming in, but he just hasn't put it all together. Although in the past couple of years, the whole running game has been not great. This is true. And that's what I thought about Vaughn when we went to the zone run. I said, Vaughn will be good in that. But he doesn't seem to have made the adjustment there. I don't know. He seems to be like he's, and again, this is just me speculating. He seems to be that he's kind of got a chip on his shoulder, because we're not playing him. We haven't played him. And now he probably thought he had a shot at the starting job, and Rachaad White just took that and ran with it. And now he's not even a backup. He's not even a second stringer. So I think he's just kind of miffed at the whole organization. Do you want Bowles to get that extension for being the sole reason for Mike Evans' signs, as in Mike Evans wants to play for Bowles? Man, I do not know. With Bowles, he's got to show something this year. He's got to do it. I can't have another mediocre year, and us, not make the playoffs or get blown out in the first round of the playoffs. And, that would just destroy all confidence I have in Bowles. Whether he brings Mike Evans back or not, I don't know. I don't think that'd be enough. Don't think that would be enough. Craig says, Tucker has me excited too. He could be great or could end up the same as Vaughn. Yeah. They do look the same in the running style, though I'll admit that Tucker seemed to have more cut to him. He was able to see the holes a little bit better than Vaughn did. But again, his preseason, Tucker went up a different caliber of guy than Vaughn did. So, Sean Tucker and Mike will both Syracuse orange. Oh, ain't that something? We like our homegrown guys, man. Jim, everyone hit the like button. It's hump day. What's up, fam? What's up, Jim? Joe says some guys are late bloomers and develop after they leave us. Yeah, right. No. It's like we're the farm team. We have been for many, many years. Although it was strange for the past, 3-4 years, having guys come to us. We were getting all the good free agent signings. That was so weird. I've never experienced that before. We're used to the other way. Guys getting good here or showing promise and then signing big somewhere else. 4 times this season when we will try a Hail Mary to Mike Evans, all 4 attempts succeed. There you go. I can see that. I can definitely see that. Although I don't want to try Hail Mary. I don't want to be in positions where we have to try Hail Marys. I want us to be doing Hail Marys just for, just for fun. Maybe at the start of the end of the first half. I could do Hail Marys then, but I don't want to have to do a Hail Mary at the end of the game. I like victory formation. Best play. Nate, how is the Vikings O-line if we can get the cousin before he throws and we don't have to worry about Justin Jefferson? Okay. Nate, yes. Were you not here yesterday? I thought you were here. We did some film review on the Vikings, and we looked at their O-line specifically, was what we were focused on. They got a pretty good O-line, but my consensus or my opinion was that they had 2 weak links. They're not bad offensive linemen, but the 2 weakest links were right tackle and their left guard. Right tackle was their worst offensive lineman. He wasn't horrible, but he was the worst one. And those two just happen to be where our best players are at on defensive line. That's Shaq Barrett and Vita Vea. So I think we're going to get pressure on Cousins. Watching 75, which was the right tackle for the Minnesota Vikings, he was definitely getting beat a lot by good moves, by good defensive ends or outside linebackers. And Shaq Barrett's the best in the business. So I think he's going to give 75 a very rough time. I don't think 75 is going to be able to stop Shaq Barrett. Nobody can stop Shaq Barrett, but I think 75 is going to have an especially hard time. And I think the number was 72 was the left guard is going to just get beat up by Vita Vea all day. So I think we're going to have a good pincer move, pressure up the middle, and pressure coming from that right side. So Kirk Cousins, what we saw on the game film was he really likes to throw to the outside. He loves his out routes. That seems to be his pressure valve. And they had a lot of long developing out routes. So we're going to see if we can get to him before he can throw those out routes. And you can't throw those out routes under pressure. They're hard to throw. You got to be pretty precise. And if you're getting hit and jostled and having to not be on your base very well, you're going to have a hard time throwing those routes. Winfield and Carlton Davis both have pick sixes Sunday. Nice. MK, man, you're the best. We got to get you on the podcast one day. You can You can be the hype man on the podcast. Hey, Al, what's up, man? We were talking about Mike Williams, how I know I have it that he has died, and I had that on the thumbnail, but we found out right before we started the stream that the report is he's not dead, that he is in the ICU on life support, and the family is talking about taking him off of life support. So we're sitting here and watching information to find out if we can get anything new. We've also discussed about Keyshawn Vaughn did not show up at practice today, unexcused absence. And we were sitting here talking in chat how he's probably going to get cut. Oh, you had to step out yesterday. Yeah, I thought I saw you here. So that's a shame. Yeah, we did some pretty good film watching there. Got a good glimpse at their offensive line, which is the same this year as it was last year. So we think we have a pretty good grasp of how it's going to be in the trenches there. Vikings running game will suffer, and they might be in more 3rd and longs. Yeah, their offensive line were good at blocking at the run too, but they lost Cook. The Madison, I think he's just as good as Cook. Every time he stepped in, he's been performed almost as well as Cook. I don't think he's as shifty as Cook, but we'll see if their run game takes a step back. I haven't quite decided on that yet, but we'll see. And I said that I don't think they're going to get 100 yards rushing on us. So yes, I think you're right. I think they'll be in some 3rd and long situations. Yes, Vikings don't know who they are yet without Cook. Yeah, Craig says if half of MK's predictions come true, it'll be a great year. Yeah, this is true. The one prediction I want him to get right is, what did he say, 12 wins or 10 wins? He says, I guarantee it. Al Bundy, yeah, Vaughn is cuckoo. He's salty for being 4th. Yeah, that's what I think too. It's just speculation, but I think he is. Or wanting a new contract. He's not getting a new contract. He's lucky he made the roster. He's overvaluing himself. If anything, he should fire his agent for not properly advising him for not showing up. Yeah. Yes, he barely made the roster, if you ask me. We've got. I think Patrick Laird played better than Keyshawn Vaughn did in the preseason. I was actually surprised they picked him over Laird and put Laird on the practice squad. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if they just flat out cut Keyshawn and bring Laird up. Or I think somebody said David Moore. That would be fine too. Although I think we're set at wide receiver. 2 picks, 2 pick sixes, 4 sacks, 2 from Vea, 1 from Shaq, Levante David. Okay. I'm going to write that down. I'm going to take a screen capture of that. I think you might be right. Don't know about the 2 pick sixes. Don't know about that. I can see 2 interceptions, maybe 1 pick six. 4 sacks, I can see it. Levante David, I'd say Devin White over Levante David. I think Devin White is going to be an absolute beast this year. I think it's going to be really hard for us in the offseason, but we're not going to sign him to that big $100 million contract. There's no way. But he's going to be playing for that $100 million contract, and he's going to be this is his audition year. And I think he's going to play lights out. That's my prediction. 10-7 guaranteed. Your mind says 12-5. You sure that's not your heart that says 12-5? 12-5. That'd be great, man. I'd be happy with 10-7. If we go 10-7, I'll be happy. I'll definitely be on the keep Todd Bowles bandwagon. Now, if we go 12-5, I'll definitely. I'll get a Todd Bowles jersey. Has anybody ever gotten a coach's jersey? Okay, so Mike Williams is in the ICU on life support. It was great news hearing if what's being reported is true, that he opened his eyes, he acknowledged his ex and his daughter, and started crying when he saw them and heard their voices. That's fantastic news. But they said he can't move. Keyshawn Vaughn didn't show up to practice today. Unexcused absence. From what I understood, Todd Bowles is not happy about this. He's aware of the situation. He said it was for personal reasons, but it was not excused. So Keyshawn Vaughn just didn't show up to that. Carl Nassib, the outside linebacker for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers from last year, is retiring. If you don't remember, Carl Nassib played with us, and then he went to the Oakland Raiders, and then he came out as gay. He's the first openly gay NFL player, and he is retiring. Then he came back to the Buccaneers last year and, played pretty well. Carl Nassib and Anthony Nelson, to me, are kind of the same guy. Carl Nassib, I could always spot him on the field because for some reason, I don't know why he did this, he hunched over, he curved like at the shoulders. It was very strange looking. But he only did that when he was playing, like when he was walking around on the field or when he wasn't in his jersey or his uniform, walking around normal or giving press conferences. He didn't hunch over like that. But as soon as that ball was snapped, he would hunch over. It was very strange. That's the only way I could tell the difference between him and Anthony Nelson because they play very much similar styles. Do I think Cade Otton has a good year? Yes. Yes, I do. I think Cade Otton's going to have a great year. I don't think we're going to be using the tight ends blocking near as much as we did with Arians' system. I think we're going to use the tight ends much more as receivers, running these shorter routes, especially with these bootlegs and waggles and stuff. Tight ends are going to be vital in those, running those routes. Yeah, if we let Mike go and sign Devin White, yeah, I don't know if I'll be sad. I'll be furious. I can't see it happening. But then again, Todd Bowles, Devin White is Todd Bowles' favorite player. But I don't know if the front office would be cool with that. Mike Evans, he's an icon. He's going to immediately be in the Ring of Honor. And, I could see him. I could see him being a Hall of Famer. I wish he would have gotten a touchdown in the Super Bowl. It kind of upset me with Tom Brady throwing all the touchdowns to the free agents that he brought in. Leonard Fournette, Gronkowski, Antonio Brown. He didn't give any to Mike Evans or was Godwin. Godwin was. Yeah, he played during. Yeah, Godwin. It was just kind of like I wanted to see some of the older Buccaneers, that have been with this team for a while get a touchdown. But do I think that Mike Evans should be in the Hall of Fame? Yes. Just for the 1,000-yard season. I mean, nobody's ever done that before. Come in as a rookie, get 1,000 yards, and continue to get 1,000 yards. What's he on his 9th, 10th year now? Nobody's ever done that. That right there deserves the Hall of Fame recognition. And then he's won a Super Bowl. So that's Hall of Fame worthy if you ask me. Okay, Craig, we're going to hold you to that. Craig says if all of MK's predictions happen, which is the 2 pick sixes, 4 sacks, 2 from Villa, 1 from Shaq, 1 from Levante David. Does it have to be exactly like that? Because can Devin White get a sack instead of Levante? So Craig says if those predictions come true, we're all getting shirts. That'd be awesome. I'll chip in, Craig. I'll split it with you. Yeah, I think Bowles is probably gone this year. Unless we make the playoffs. Or have a 10-7 record. We have a 10-7 record, and we end up, the Saints got 10-7 too, or they go 11-6 or something like that. If we make a 10-7 record, I think Bowles will be here. He'll get another year. You'll go on the MK says if we get to 67 likes during the live stream, he'll come on the podcast with the Get a Key jersey on. All right. That'd be awesome. That'd be great. Yeah, Devin White going to New England next year. That's funny. I was thinking that because they always seem to pick our guys. We're like the farm team for New England. And Belichick, I'd love to have Devin White over there. Miami, that'd be interesting. If Devin White leaves, I want him to go to the AFC. Preferably into the division we don't play for the next 4 years. MK being the hype man. Hit that like button. Smash that like button. Yes, Evans definitely helped us to the Super Bowl. There's no question about that. Evans was pivotal to us getting to the Super Bowl. Him and Brady did not have the chemistry that I wanted them to have, mainly because Brady is so accurate with his passes. And Mike Evans, really his forte is catching ugly passes. That's why he made Johnny Manziel and Jameis Winston look so good, because they threw some ugly passes. Jameis Winston was just not accurate at all. I actually did a video on how inaccurate he was. I mean, if you go and look, almost every pass he threw, receivers had to reach behind them, reach above them, stop their routes, turn around, something. It was just never right in the arms. And Mike Evans is great at those catches. I mean, that's really his forte. You just throw it up. Mike Evans catches ugly passes. And with Tom Brady was just so accurate. It just kind of seems like it almost threw Mike Evans off a little bit, because the ball would just land in his hands. He didn't have to jump for it or twist or fight anybody. So it seemed like him and Tom Brady and Mike Evans never really got the chemistry that I saw, like with him and Randy Moss, or that I really thought they would develop. Evans would have had a touchdown in the Super Bowl if he didn't get interfered with so many times. Yeah. Yeah, they were trying to shut him down. They had to get real physical. Yeah, you have to cheat to shut Mike Evans down, because he's going to cheat to catch the ball. He will push you. He will climb up on top of your shoulders. He don't care. When that ball's in the air, that's Mike's ball. Let's go with MK's Mayfield prediction. Baker, 5,000 plus, 40 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Okay, so you're talking on the season. Shirts provided that happens, since it means we're making a deep playoff run. Okay, let's do that. Belichick is cheap. He has never paid for a high. Yeah, good point. Yeah, no, Devin White would never go to New England. There's no way Belichick's going to pay that type of money for a linebacker or anybody. Brady doesn't throw 50-50 balls. Yeah, he's very squeamish on it. I think he'd probably throw up just thinking about doing that. Yes. You think Bowles is going to survive, Clack? I was kind of surprised that they hired Bowles, to be honest with you. But it kind of goes with their MO of flipping between coaching styles. And they really did throw him into a great situation, but he wasn't allowed, or he didn't have a chance to really modify it the way he wanted to. So, he really just became a manager of the coaching staff. And it wasn't the best situation in the world for Bowles, but at the same time, it was a fantastic situation because your offense was set. Everything was set. You had best quarterback in the history of the league and all that good stuff. So, now he's starting at basically a reset on the whole offense. And they might think, the ownership might think, well, we need to give him at least a year in the system he wants before we fire him. So, they're giving him this. And, if it doesn't completely blow up, they might go, well, let's give him another year and see if he can develop on top of that. Does that make any sense? So I'm worried they're going to do that. Even if he doesn't perform well this year, they might still give him another year. Personally, I wouldn't, but I was surprised they gave him the job to begin with. MK in the house. 12 people means 12 likes. How many likes we got? I can't see that. We got 9. All right, guys. Got to give up them likes. Okay. The injury report came out. We've only got one that is still on the did not participate list, and that's Kalijah Kancey. So it looks like he's most likely not going to start or play in this week 1 game. We probably won't see him for a few weeks. Still got that calf injury. I mean, the guy hasn't practiced for a month. There's no way he's playing week 1. Merriweather, our safety, he was limited in participation. Anthony Nelson, outside linebacker, hamstring injury. He was limited in participation, but they both did get out on the field a little bit. Keyshawn Vaughn did not participate again. That was an unexcused absence. It had nothing to do with physicality. And Anton Winfield Jr., he's had that calf injury. He had full participation, so that's good to hear. So the only one of those guys that seems like they're not going to play week 1 is going to be Kancey, which sucks because I want to see some film on the guy. I want to get some all 22 so I can look at him, see what we got. And Carl Nassib has announced he's going to retire. Kyle Rudolph announced he was retiring too. So we've had a lot of guys retire. Leonard Fournette's still hanging out there somewhere. Julio Jones is still out there. Did he announce he was retiring? I don't think so. Did y'all hear? Oh my gosh. I couldn't believe this. Nick Bosa got a $170 million 5-year contract, $122 million guaranteed with the 49ers. That is insanity. That's like, he's making like $38 million a year as a defensive end. What? I have never. That's crazy. That makes him the highest defensive player ever in NFL history. Yeah, so he's making $34 million a year, 122 guaranteed, 122 million. And I'm going to say this. Josh Wells, our backup offensive lineman, who I gave crap to for years. He was absolutely horrible at left tackle. Every time he had to come in and fill in for Donovan Smith, it was a disaster. He was absolutely garbage, but he was fun. He was fun to watch because it was just so bad. He had that I called it the reverse airplane move, where he would spin around backwards and try to block guys like that with his arms out backwards. It was the strangest thing. I've never seen an offensive lineman do it, but he did it all the time. Anyhow, when we played the 49ers last year, he ended up playing. Tristan Wirfs was hurt. Josh Wells played right tackle. And I said, this is going to be a disaster. This is Josh Wells going up against Nick Bosa, at the time, the sack leader, the defensive player of the year, all that good stuff. I thought Josh Wells was going to get destroyed. And I'll be darned if it wasn't the the most impressive offensive performance I have ever seen watching football. And nobody talked about it. It was very strange. Josh Wells dominated Nick Bosa. Dominated him. I had never seen anything like it. He got 5 pancakes on Nick Bosa. He grabbed Nick Bosa, threw him to the ground, and landed on top of him 5 times. I have never seen that before. I've never seen 5 pancakes by an offensive lineman in a game before. In a single game. You're lucky if you get 1, 2, maybe 3. But 5? And then to do 5 on Nick Bosa? It was amazing. It was the most amazing offensive performance I've ever seen. And nobody ever mentioned it. The head coach didn't mention it. Nobody on the offensive line mentioned it. I watched Pat McAfee, or Pat McAfee, whatever his name is. They've got the A.Q. Shipley on there, who is friends with everybody on the Buccaneers offensive line. You know, he used to be an offensive lineman for us. And he does this best offensive performance every week on Pat's show. And he didn't talk about Josh Wells. I was amazed. I was like, are you serious? It was the strangest things. But anyhow, that's my Nick Bosa story. I've got the video up on the Buccaneers Observer YouTube page. Go check it out. Josh Wells just dominated Nick Bosa. Nick Bosa didn't get close to the quarterback. Tom Brady never got touched by Nick Bosa because Josh Wells just literally beat him up. So anyhow, Nick Bosa. So the 49ers have, check this out. The 49ers, and we were just talking about this too, how the 49ers are going to implode. But they've got the highest paid defensive end in Nick Bosa. They've got the highest paid running back in Christian McCaffrey. They got the highest paid fullback in Kyle Juszczyk. The 3rd highest paid tight end in George Kittle. The 3rd highest paid left tackle in Trent Williams. There you go, Trent Williams. The 3rd highest paid linebacker in Fred Warner, who's a great linebacker. The 6th highest paid defensive tackle in Javon Hargraves. And the 7th highest paid wide receiver in Deebo Samuel. Meanwhile, their quarterback, Brock Purdy, making the least among all NFL starters at $934,000 a year. That's hilarious. But there's no way that's unsustainable. You cannot, they're not going to be able to hire anybody. If they keep all these guys, Nick Bosa, Christian McCaffrey, Kyle Juszczyk, George Kittle, Trent Williams, Fred Warner, Javon Hargrave, and Deebo Samuel, that's their roster. Everybody else is getting crumbs. But God, $122 million guaranteed for a defensive end? That's insane. Never heard anything like that. Okay, let me get to the chat. I've been over here ranting. What have you guys been saying? Now, Craig being funny. I heard Tom Brady retired. Is that true? I heard he's got a sponsorship deal with American Airlines or some U.S. Airlines. And he's going to be their spokesperson for a while. Hope it doesn't turn out like FTX. Sign AB. Kadarius Toney is in free agency in a lot of fantasy football leagues. He practiced today and will be playing this Thursday. He's wide receiver 1 for Kansas City. I don't have Toney. I got the new guy they drafted. Plus, Kansas City will be without Kelsey most likely. Grab Toney quickly. This is fantasy football advice from Mr. Al Bundy. If you can't trust anybody, you can trust Al Bundy. About time a defensive player got paid. Nate's down with the big salary for Nick Bosa. MH says, wait until Micah Parsons resets the market. When you have 4 million subscribers, please remember MK. Oh, yes, MK. Yes, we definitely will. I like your optimism. We're shooting for 4 million subscribers. I don't know if I want that many subscribers. Could you imagine how I wouldn't be able to keep up with the chat? I'd have my original chat guys, and y'all would be like the only ones I'd talk to. 49ers run a 4-3 defense. If they didn't sign him and he wanted more than Aaron Donald at 31, he would have walked. 4-3 defense without defense ends can't generate much pressure. That's true. They had to play him. Plus, Purdy is cheap for the next 3 years. Yes. Like he's making $934,000. He's not even making a million a year. And then they shipped out all their other quarterbacks. So they got Brock Purdy and Sam Darnold. Oh, I mean, if they can make it work, that's fine. But John Lynch is over there building the monstrous defensive team in the world. The offense is going to be nothing but Deebo Samuel and Christian McCaffrey. McCaffrey, man. Bosa had 15.5 sacks in 2021 and 18.5 last year. Yeah. Kittle was hurt a lot last year. I know. I had him as my tight end in fantasy football. He hurt me. Danny says Delta. So it's Delta Airlines. That's where Tom Brady's doing his sponsorship. All right. Let's look and see if we got any more information on Mike Williams. No. Okay. Bucs have converted Shaq Barrett's base salary to league minimum and as a bonus to free up much needed cap space for normal operating costs this season. So effective today, the top 51 cap space rule went away for the season. So the Bucs converted Shaq Barrett's $14.25 million base salary to league minimum and a bonus. So that way we could get under the cap rule. Something like that. We're always doing something. We were barely over the cap. And we needed the space to cover practice squad salaries, replacements for guys on injured reserve, and other operating costs. Greg Allman. Yeah, Lynch has a lot of pieces. Nate says John Lynch has a lot of pieces at the 49ers, but missing that ring still. CMC is fun to watch. Yes, he is. Like I said yesterday, I've had him in my fantasy football league as a keeper for 5 years, I think. A couple of the years he was injured. It really hurt me because I kept him on the bench, waiting for him to come back. But I am so glad he is out of our division. Although we always did a pretty good job keeping him in check, relatively. Don't miss playing him twice a year. This is true. That's how I felt about Michael Vick. I loved Michael Vick. He was one of my favorite players. I used to go watch him play in high school. He played right down the street from me. And he was always just a spectacular player. And I hated it when we played him. But again, the Buccaneers kind of always kept Mike Vick in check too, relatively. Aaron Donald has 5 sacks and is getting $31.7 million. That's why Bosa was going to settle for less. That means they want to keep Shaq. Yes. Please, let's keep Shaq. Please. Shaq, very underrated, man. I'm not trying to be biased, but I think Shaq is the best outside linebacker. I think he's the best pass rusher. Say what you want about Nick Bosa. He's got his skills, but I think Shaq Barrett is better at pure pass rushing because Shaq Barrett is also good at everything else. Shaq Barrett is great at just doing his job. And at pass rushing, he's just incredible. His bag of tools, his tricks are just amazing. He can do everything I've seen everybody else do and plus some. He makes up stuff. He's got a huge tool chest. And, unfortunately, Todd Bowles has started dropping him back in coverage more and more every year. And before last year, in 2021, I think according to my stats, I started keeping record of how many times he dropped him back. But he was dropping him back almost 25% of the time that Shaq Barrett was on the field. So that's why Shaq Barrett just couldn't get the sacks in as much because he was being dropped back in coverage so much. You could do 4 million subscribers. Look how far you've come since 2018, when I would listen to a podcast only. YouTube wasn't even in the cards at that point. Yeah, that's true. That is true. And we've kind of let the podcast slip because ever since we've had the baby, it's just been impossible for me and Molly to both have time to sit down for an hour and do the podcast. And it's kind of driving her crazy because she wants to do the podcast. Nate says, your channel just popped up in my feed last week and I've enjoyed hanging out and catching up on the Bucs every night. Thank you, Nate. We've enjoyed having you here, man. Yeah, we just started doing this live stream stuff, I think at the beginning of preseason because we want to start doing it during the season too. We're going to try to watch game film and talk about Bucs news and just have a place for all of us Buc fans to hang out and chit-chat. Danny K says, Bucs converted Shaq Barrett's $14.25 million base salary to league minimum and a bonus to free up much-needed cap space for normal operating costs this season. Greg Allman, yeah. It was basically word for word what I just said and what Greg Allman tweeted, I think. Thank you for that, Danny K. Ilm H says, offense and defense will be in the top 10 of the league, hanging with Cowboys, Eagles, and Vikings in the NFC. Man. Ilm H. That's good predictions. I like them predictions. Kind of bold there, Cotton. Defense, I could see our defense doing that. Offense, don't know. Kind of questionable. If we come out like we did in preseason week 3, if our offense comes out doing that and having that type of success, if Rachaad White is getting 9-yard runs when he's getting contact at the line of scrimmage, and he was doing that consistently, and if Baker Mayfield is getting outside the pocket, throwing those beautiful passes to Godwin and Trey. Yeah, I can see us having a very, very potent offense. Top 10. So you could be right. So hopefully we can do it. It's not out of the realm of possibility. Al says he needs to see Shaq's new contract. The reason Light was avoiding touching Shaq's contract because it allowed the Bucs to release him after 2023. With his new structure, it might change the Bucs out. MK says he's screaming at everybody. That is what the like button does. Finds other people. Smash that like button. Smash it. Smash it. Smash it like it's Kirk Cousins' face. Ugh, ugh. That's how Vita's going to do it. Ugh. Al continues and he says, it might change the Bucs out on his contract. It might force the Bucs to keep him in age 32. Oh my gosh, how old is Shaq? I forgot he's getting up there too. Oh, that's going to be sad when he's gone. Man, when Mike Evans is gone, Shaq Barrett's gone, Levante David is gone, Golston's gone. Those are the only old Bucs left, man. Or if the Bucs still have the out after this year, then the Bucs will get hit hard in 2024 if they release him. Joe says, I like your opinion on the team. So Shaq's going to be 31 this year? Okay. Man. Yep, so he's on the downward trend. Thank you, Joe. Like I said, me and Molly is my podcast host and my wife. We try to keep a positive view. We don't call for coaches to be fired or players to be cut and all that. We try to keep it as positive as we can. If we don't have something nice to say about somebody, we try not to say anything. I've kind of slipped up a little bit with Todd Bowles, how I'm just not that impressed with him and everything, but it is what it is. MK and all these other guys are keeping me in check. Nate says we're going to find out if we're a playoff team by midseason. We play the Bills week 8 and Philly week 3, first half of the season. Yes. Yeah. I think by our bye week, we're kind of going to know. And if we need a quarterback change, if we need to change things, it's probably going to happen right around our bye week, which is early this year. I think it's week 4 or 5. And That's soon thereafter is when we're going to make changes, and we'll know. I think. But then again, Dave Canales is going to have. This is the first time with play calling and all that good stuff, so it's going to take him a while to get into the groove of things. He's going to have a lot of screw ups. We've got a center and a quarterback who are both new to each other. Usually have some miscommunication and some bad snaps for the first few weeks. We'll probably have some of that. So, I don't know, maybe mid-season, like you said. Mid-season. We'll give it week 8, week 9. We'll say week 9. Yeah, right. Yeah, let's go with the Bills game. After the Bills game, we'll know what we got. Oh, Craig's going to be at the Bills game. Sweet. Take pictures, man. Take pictures. Post them. Where are we playing? Are we at the Bills? Let me look at my trusted calendar. Yes, at the Bills. Oh, that's a Thursday night game, too. Probably not going to be cold because it's going to be in October. It might be a little cold. It ain't going to be full winter cold yet, though, so you lucked out on that one, Craig. That's going to be great, man. Bills fan bases are pretty good, too. They're a pretty good fan base. Just about all the Bills fans I've ever met have been pretty good fans. They're not jerks like Philadelphia or Washington. Because Washington fans aren't that great either. Closest stadium. Yeah, I've never been to Buffalo Stadium. We're thinking about maybe going to the Panthers game this year here at Charlotte. But if I go, I have a bad tendency to cause trouble when I go to the opposing team's stadiums. Yeah, I'm usually not too polite to their fans. I'm getting away from that. I'm a much nicer guy now. I think I'm mellowed out in my old age. So I could probably go to the Panthers Stadium and not get into a fight or a ruckus or get thrown out or thrown in jail. Maybe we'll try it this year. But I love the Tampa Stadium. Tampa's a fun stadium. The pregame stuff is fun. They do a lot of stuff with the fans. The organization. They got out there throwing necklaces, and they got the boat that goes around, and the Mr. Fear, and the cheerleaders, and all that good stuff. So, but the stadium itself is fun. You got a pirate ship. You got bars in the end zone. You got a beach at the other end zone. It's fun. It's hot, but it's fun. If you ever get a chance, Craig, make it down to RJS, man. If you've never gone. Yes, 1:00 games at Tampa, just scorching. Especially if you're at the east side, where the away team is at. Man, that's just full on sun the whole game. Nate's trying to go to the Colts-Bucks game the week of Thanksgiving. Oh, man, speaking of Thanksgiving, I'm starving. My stomach is grumbling. I don't know if y'all can hear that. I missed them when they were in Indy last year. Indy is about 2.5 hours away from you. Yes, please go to that because I think we're going to stomp Indy. I think Indy's going to be a horrible team this year. I don't even know what they're trying to do over there. They're trying for that first-round draft pick. Al says, I predict Trask either start of week 8 or middle of the game. So Trask won't have expectations to win against the Bills. Then Trask can play the next 2 easy games to get his feet wet, Texans and Titans. So, Al, you don't have much confidence that Mayfield's going to light up the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and pull us all the way through the season, huh? Yes, I agree. Eagles and Panther fans the worst. Eagles definitely. Eagles fans are the worst that I've encountered. Steelers fans are pretty bad too. But then again, I've met some good Steelers fans. I don't think I've ever met any good Eagles fans. I've met some good Steelers fans, but a lot of them have been really obnoxious. Patriots fans are extremely nice. You know, I don't think I've ever had any trouble with Patriots fans. Atlanta fans are like that too. Atlanta fans are very gracious. Saints fans suck. Panthers fans are horrible. Oh, Craig, you have been to Ray J. Oh, you went there early this year on vacation. Sweet. Yeah, on my 50th birthday, I got to go to One Buck Place, and I got a tour around One Buck Place by the vice president. What's his name? It was really cool. Baker's going to bake, y'all. Shake and bake. Shake and bake. Shake and bake. Talladega Nights. Raiders fans suck. I'm not sure if I've ever met a Raiders fan, actually. You know, that made me think. I don't think I've ever met a Cardinals fan. And who else was it? Me and Molly were talking about this the other day, about what fan of a team we've never met. I don't think I've ever met a Cardinals fan. But there was one team that she brought up, and I was like, yeah, I don't even think I've ever seen a fan of that team. Let me see, who was it? It had to have been Cardinals. Must have been the Cardinals. Because I've even seen Texans fans. I've had good conversations with Texans fans. I had one at the end of last year when Lovie Smith. Oh my God. That was the biggest jerk move in the world. Lovie Smith getting that touchdown. He did that vindictively against the owners of the Texans. The only thing I can think of. They sure fired him quicker than crap, too. Cost them the number one pick in the draft. Man, why'd he do that? Oof. I don't think Lovie Smith will ever coach in the NFL again. I don't think he wants to. Baker could play if he is not reckless. He just has to tone it down and play smart and not force passes in. I don't know. I think Kansas City Cowboys and Eagles are really bad. Lately, Jets fans are going overboard. They got Aaron Rodgers, yo. They're going to win multiple Super Bowls. Nothing can stop them now. How many times have we heard that from the Jets? The same thing with Brett Favre. Oh, God, they were so obnoxious when they got Brett Favre. But I do agree with you. The Eagles. We all agree that the Eagles worst fans, I think. Kansas City, yeah. We had so much fun when me and Molly, we went out to the bar to watch the Super Bowl against the Kansas City Chiefs. And there was this lady there who we had kind of befriended. She was a Chiefs fan. And we played the Super Bowl. And me and Molly got quite tipsy. But that lady, we were just loud and obnoxious because we were just stomping the Kansas City Chiefs. And she left, I think, right after halftime, just quietly zipped on out the door. She was real friendly with us before the game started. And during the game, she was real quiet. So that was nice. That was fun. She was a nice lady, though. And one of my best friends is a Chiefs fan. So I can't say that the Chiefs fans are bad. Not in my experience. Cowboys, can't say that either because one of my best friends, again, he's a Cowboys fan. Great guy. I've actually known some really good Cowboys fans. But Eagles fans, nope. Don't think I've ever met a good Eagles fan. They've all been kind of jerks. But Al, I agree with you 100%. Baker can play well if he is not reckless. And I think we formed this offense around Baker's play style. I don't know if it was because we got Baker or not. I just think it just happened to work out. Canales, we got to remember, he's been with Seattle his whole career. And pretty much, Russell Wilson is what he's dipped his football chops in. So, he likes that outside the pocket, running around, Cowboy style quarterback, and that fits Mayfield. But I agree with you. Todd Bowles is not going to like Mayfield out there just going wild and crazy, just throwing the ball up. Nope. He's going to have to play calm, cool, and collective. We saw it in the preseason. I think he's done a great job in the preseason, just playing very good decision-making and all that good stuff. Whether he can keep it up while he's under pressure, real game scenarios and all that, we'll see. We'll see. I'm totally in the air about it. I don't know. What I saw in the preseason gave me a lot of hope, but, the preseason is a totally different beast than regular season. Ilmage, that's right. He's a Cowboy fan and a Buccaneers fan, so he's sorry for being one of the worst fans. Now, you don't count, man. You got... You're one of the good Cowboy fans. Craig bringing up the Eagles fans throwing stuff at Santa. Yeah, didn't they have batteries? They were throwing snowballs, but then they started throwing batteries like later in the year after the snow melted. Craig forgives you, LMH. Are you ready to rumble? Yes. Craig used to be a Raiders fan when he was a kid. Yeah. I was never a fan of a team. I liked players, and I liked Tony Dorsett, Roger Staubach. So, I was kind of a Dallas Cowboys fan, but I also at the same time liked Lynn Swann and Mean Joe Green. So I was a Pittsburgh fan at the same time. So when they played in the Super Bowl, it was like, I don't know who to choose. They actually played twice. And then I liked Brian Griese with the Miami Dolphins. And so I had like Miami Dolphins gear. And then plus I was a kid. So, I was a little kid. I was like 8. I liked the Dolphins logo and the colors. I thought that was cool. So, I had a bunch of Dolphins gear. So I'd go to school. I'd be wearing a Miami Dolphins shirt. I had a Pittsburgh Steelers Letterman jacket, and a Dallas Cowboy hat. People were like, who do you even like? Shout out to the Buccaneers Observer, for the people, by the people. Yes. Smash that like button. All right, guys, I'm going to have to get off of here. I am starving. I'm about ready to pass out. I'm lightheaded. But so we got bad news, but a little bit better news. Mike Williams has passed away. Should I change the thumbnail? Maybe put a question mark? Mike Evans rip. So he's not passed away that we know of. He's in ICU on life support, and they're thinking about taking him off. Carl Nassib has retired from the NFL, the first openly gay NFL player, or the ex-Buccaneers. Keyshawn Vaughn did not show up in practice today. He was unexcused absence. Todd Bowles is not very happy about that. Kalijah Cansey did not practice again today, so most likely he is not going to be playing week 1, most likely a couple weeks into the season at least. His calf injury is still bothering him. Everybody else did practice today. Anthony Nelson and Merriweather were limited practice, but Winfield did practice. So that's good news. We're going to have most of our guys out there for week 1. Evans, Godwin, Palmer, Otten, White, hard to cover them all. Yes. Yes, okay. We'll just say Mike Williams seriously injured. Yeah, because it'd be really weird to leave RIP on there on the thumbnail. Yeah, I got to go eat. Thank you, Nate. Yes, everybody say a prayer for Mike Williams and his family tonight. Hopefully we'll have some good news on him tomorrow. So that is all for the Buccaneers Observer today, guys. We'll see you here tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for another live stream. We'll go over the news. Hopefully we'll hear some good stuff from Mike Evans. And then we're going to watch some more film on the Vikings. Get ready, see if we can understand what we're going up against week 1. But till then, guys, next time, go Bucs.